Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jessica. This is The Quantum Soul. A few weeks ago, I started receiving information about timelines, and I've been a bit wary to share because, these things are vastly out of my control, and I have absolutely no idea if the information coming through is real or not, but I'm encouraged to share via my guides and just put the information out there as it comes to me. And what you do with the information is up to you. Just use your discernment and do your own research. If there are any patterns between what I have to share and what others are sharing, it really helps to add validation in some way. Mostly, I think it's about me needing to trust the information that comes to me and just get over the feeling of being judged. I understand that there is a bigger force and energy at work, and I respect that. And I respect when it's like, hey, you got to share this. So I also understand that things can change and information changes based upon the energy of the collective and the energy of the highest timeline. A lot of information regarding future events are seen as possibilities and not necessarily realities unless we align to it as a collective. And when people make future predictions, they're most likely taken from the highest or dominant timeline. But again, things are always shifting and changing, so keep that in mind. This leads me to the topic of timelines that I wanted to talk about, and that's been coming through for me from my higher vibrational guides. The reason why I'm sharing is because I had gotten information, but was really struggling whether or not I should share it. And then I saw a video pop out for me on YouTube from Aluna Ash called Collective Timeline Merge, March 2020. And I'll add the link to that video below. And this was sort of a confirmation from my guides, actually, that other people are getting this information and that there's something to it. So I need to do my own duty and share what I have. So thank you, first of all, to Aluna Ash for posting that video and bringing that to my attention in order to allow me to share as well. And this is going to be another pretty long video. I intended it to be short, but there was just so much information that came through, so I'm just lumping it all together. And in the future, I hope to make shorter videos to do quicker updates in terms of energy updates and what's coming through. But I also really like to be thorough, and I ask a lot of questions to my guides when the information is flowing. So I can't always guarantee a short video as much as I would like. But anyway, stick with me to the end because there's a lot of really good information regarding timeline merging in response to, or actually in the process of, the whole ascension. So anyway, back to timelines. Timelines are very important to consider during this ascension shift. Right now and in the past, we've had multiple timelines based upon the energy of the conscious collective. And of course, there have been so many different offshoots, especially centered around huge global events such as 9/11 and any major natural disasters that affect on a global collective scale. And what's happening with the ascension is that the energies of fear, hate, scarcity, death, etc. are being purged and released. And anything similar to those lower vibrational energies that revolve around basically fear have to be released, because as the Earth's vibration increases or ascends, the frequency of the new Earth will not vibrationally match with the lower density energies that revolve around fear. And those lower density energies are very third dimensional Earth energies. So all of that's being purged and released. This also includes the purging of the timelines that have offshooted based around fear. Those everything about global natural disasters, political events, events such as 9/11 and school shootings and stuff like that, that has affected everyone on a global or larger national scale. Because when it affects on a more collective level, that shoots off into a major timeline. So right now, there are multiple timelines, and the timeline that we exist on is the central timeline. This is the word used by my guides. So central timeline is the current timeline in third dimensional reality Earth. The final timeline is the new Earth timeline. I don't want you to get confused with the words being used going forward, so keep that in mind. Central timeline is the current 3D Earth timeline reality that we're on right now, and that's being merged into a final timeline, which is the new Earth reality timeline. So the idea of a merged final timeline sort of quickly came through one day as I was channeling information from my guides, and it basically said that every timeline was going to be demolished and we will be centered on one final timeline. They said, quote, same timeline for everyone. And the information that came through said that the timeline merge will begin after the event, in quotes, in the fall. Again, my guides see this event happening in October of this year. It's this light event that will be a significant energetic upgrade in the ascension process. Everyone will be affected, but may experience it differently. And you can listen to my last video about Ascension update if you want to hear more about what my clients have to say or what they've been saying about the event or the upcoming event in their QHHT sessions, and I'll put that link below as well. But again, remember, things are always shifting and changing, and I've found that timelines with my guides can be a bit sketchy. When I asked them where they exist in currently, they said that they exist anywhere and nowhere. My guides are of higher vibrational energy, and right now they said that they're existing in 5D Earth plane because it's the place to be, apparently, and also to give me information about the future new Earth from that perspective. So anyway, so my guides are not in the present reality, which is why timelines can be a bit sketchy, but there are certain things that even as time goes by, they keep repeating the same timeline over and over again to me. So it's good to kind of have that on the radar and to be aware of it, because sometimes the timeline does change for certain things. Sometimes it stays the same. So you never know. And it's really good to be aware and open because, again, you just never know. And keep in mind that I'm putting this information out there to do my duty of sharing what I have, and what you do with it is your own thing. I do not claim truth. I never do. I just want to share for those who are meant to hear this message. In Aluna Ash's video about her information regarding a timeline merge, she gave an estimate in terms of timeline around 2020 is when she saw that the collective timeline would merge. And what came through for me about the exact collective timeline merge was that, first of all, it's a process and it'll take some time, but it'll fully take place in about 18 months from the event in October, according to my guides. Again, take the timeline with a grain of salt, but they said around 18 months after or following the event, which they predicted to be in October of this year. So 18 months following October would be around April of 2020. So the information that I got very much aligned with the information and timeline that Aluna Ash received as well, which is another really significant confirmation for me that this information is important and really needed to be shared. And that gave me more confidence in sharing this information too. So also the reason for the timeline merge is, again, that all the negative gibberish, as my guides put it, cannot exist on the new earth, so they have to be released. They are not a vibrational match, or they don't exist within the same frequency, so they cannot exist together on the new earth. So regarding this merging of the timelines, my guide said, one merged timeline ends human belief in death. It ends belief in only Earth existence in the galaxy. It opens the female energy in groups around the globe, for divine feminine is rising in the conscious collective. Female energy opens the dictation of energy beyond Earth in the self. So in other words, the rising female energy opens your ability to receive energy beyond Earth in yourself, in your body. They go on to say, right now, male energy in the collective is dominant, and it does not allow energy from other planets and star systems to be integrated into the conscious mind. So in summary, what I just said, the merged timeline will open our belief system and consciousness to other energies outside of Earth. It will integrate the divine feminine so that we can receive these other energies into our collective conscious mind and in ourself in order to expand. They also said that the Earth timelines with knowledge about death and fear and hate are abolished when they merge into the final timeline. The release of multiple Earth timelines raises the consciousness of the collective. Elements of fear are destroyed in conscious mind for good. Do not be afraid. This is a good moment in time. Conscious mind is evolving into higher perspective, higher unconsciousness level of awareness. Christ consciousness is now taking over. Christ consciousness defines the new earth reality. And I went on to ask, okay, what exactly is Christ consciousness? And they said, Christ consciousness is love from source. Absolute love for others and for self. Ace love, what they call, quote, the best of the best love, basically, does not compare to ace love you know now from earth, or that you know now on earth. And then my guides went on to say that they're not even fully able to experience the fullness of love from source, but they're pretty dang close. So the idea of timelines are really confusing for me, as I'm sure it is for anyone, which is why I really put off this information, because I don't fully understand, because I thought that with every decision, we have offshoots of timelines or parallel realities based upon, for example, yes or no decisions, etc. And in that way, there's the individual timelines and then there's the collective timeline. But it's been something that I've been trying to gain more understanding through when I'm speaking with the higher selves of my clients, as well as my own and my guides. And I asked my guides, so what are timelines exactly? Why have there been multiple timelines? And they said, timelines are energetic elements from conscious collective affecting mass nodules, defines going in motion, delegates human existence on Earth. They even said that for now, timelines are beyond confusing. Yes, they are. But after the event, timelines will be much happier and simpler. And then they made a note saying, event in fabulous order coming soon in October. So again, like for the 100th time, it's coming in October, but I, again, take it with a grain of salt. And in terms of any sort of timeline that comes through, because we never know, but at the same time, it's really good to keep our awareness up and keep it in our conscious minds so that when it comes around, we are fully prepared and we know what's happening. I then asked, do we as individuals have multiple timelines, or are timelines only a collective thing? And what came through was that collective timelines are being merged, but individual timelines are being denied open access to new beehive on Earth. Yes, they said beehive on Earth. They then went on to say that the new Earth does not have linear time beneath illusion like we do now. What it does have is a new mode of time caged in the ability to serve others in gratitude. So in other words, yes, the collective timelines are being merged, but the individual timelines are being denied into the new Earth reality or timeline because of the linear aspect of it. And I think it will transform into a new way of individual timeline. I'm not quite sure, but something about the linear aspect of it is not going forward. So something has to change. They also said that they kind of went on a tangent and they said gimmick for fake news are elements of illusion and will fade. Elements of, quote, do not act stupid, end quote, will emerge in society, meaning we will demand the truth and will not put up with the stupidity of what's happening in the news and all over the world if it's not the truth. So my guides are very funny, and I'm actually leaving out a lot of the funny things that they say because I'm not too sure. Maybe it's my fear of being judged, but the funny things will probably come out soon enough as more information comes through and the more comfortable that I get sharing. But a lot of this type, of language that we would understand in certain ways comes through, which kind of makes it easier to understand and a bit funny, to be honest. But anyway, they said, going on, my guide said, the collective commands truth, gets truth in absolutely everything. So as these timelines are being merged into one timeline, which is the final New Earth timeline, truth will be more apparent. And that's what our focuses will be on. We're going to want truth rather than the illusion that we're so used to. It's like, get rid of the illusion. Now give us the truth. Again, so they continued on their tangent. And my guide said that they're not amused at fake news. They're amused at our denial of the truth. And for a sneak peek at maybe another video in which I'll try to get expanded information, they then went on to say that the elements on Earth, humans or people on Earth, are going to be astonished at definite saber-toothed tiger living under the bed. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were referring to the Cabal. They said, finds out about Cabal/Illuminati. And I'm assuming that they mean that the people of Earth find out about the Cabal and Illuminati, especially since before they were talking about how there will be no more illusion. And then they went on to say, because no people celebrating evil can ascend to the new Earth. Frequency does not match. Gone from Earth, stuck in poison knowledge. They are cadets of evil. Interesting. I didn't have them explain the whole Cabal Illuminati information because I was quite tired at that point, and I know that that's such a huge topic, but I do plan on asking them and getting more information about that at a later time because it's really interesting, especially the whole illusion thing and what exactly will be lifted. But yeah, it's a good thing to kind of expand upon. And I'll do a video about that later once I get that information. So going back to the timeline information, because they said that the new final merged timeline would not be linear, I ask, okay, what would it be instead if it's not linear, because we're so used to this linear timeline? And they said, collective timeline has one hobby, consciousness, and final timeline focuses on that. One timeline determines faith in the absolute source energy and does not care about death, politics, absolutely no religion, and time is abolished. Then they go on to say that a better mode of tracking time comes into effect later by someone. I guess someone invents this new mode of time that is better aligned to our ascended consciousness. And that's really interesting too. I'm excited to see what that is. And that's what I have regarding a final merge timeline for now. I hope it makes sense in some way. I know it's confusing. I'll try to get more information, and I'll post as I do get more information. But until then, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at hello@quantumsoul.co. I'd love to hear from you. I'll stick that email below, and you can also find it on my About page. And I'll see you in the next video.